We're recording so that we keep everybody accountable on this call. Now there's a record. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Just I want to make sure that I am conscious of your time. This is a time that we, we're usually with our families, and I don't want to keep you away for any more than we have to. So if you don't know where you are, this is just an informative Zoom call where we're going to discuss and talk about the Youth Ministry Certification Program. This will be the third round of this program that we have done since I have been here, since I've been in Pennsylvania. So this year in August, we would have been here for 4 years. And so we have run this program twice before, and I think we've graduated about 15 youth leaders and youth pastors. They have received their notification or their certification. So we're gonna take a moment. I'll take the first half of this call just to explain it to you really quick, and then I can take some questions after that. Again, we are recording this so that those that could not make the meeting, I can send this video to them and hopefully we'll answer their questions for them. I think most of you I've met before, if not all of you. My name is Josh Martin, and I am the State Youth and Discipleship Director. And I have a passion for really training youth and children's leaders. I was a youth pastor for 20 plus years, and I was probably a better team builder than I was a youth pastor. Every church that we were at, we had a strong team of youth leaders. And I learned early on that I could be more effective in reaching young people and kids if I could multiply myself through the leaders. And they were, and I realized that there were some youth leaders that were just a lot better at ministering to teenagers than I was. So we do this program, the Youth Ministry Certification Program. We also offer the Children's Ministry Certification Program as well, which we've done one round of that in my time here. So this is about a 5 to 6 month program. It can be done faster, but the format in which we do this, it seems to work better if we spread it out to 5 to 6 months. And the reason for that is because of the amount of reading that is involved. There's not a lot of written work, but there is some reading that will have to be done. How many of you that are on this call, how many of you have downloaded your manual so far? You've already done that. Okay, all right. So it should look like this. Maybe yours is in a white binder, or maybe it's in no binder at all. Maybe you're going to keep it digital. But it's a great program. And so I do want to run a couple things past you, let you know how we're going to do it. The first thing that I want to let you know, because this is what kind of scares people, and I'm trying to get to the page where it is the reading. The reading, actually, you will read 5 books. So that's why we kind of do a 5 to 6 month stretch to try to give you 5 months, 1 book a month. Okay. So if you have your manual, you don't have to turn to it, but I will tell you that it is in section 1. It tells you the books that the list of books that you can choose from. Okay. There is a list of 10. We are required to read the first 4 on that list. And then the remaining 6, you can choose one of those for your 5th read. So the required readings are your first 2 years in youth ministry. That's the first book. Any youth leader, youth pastor, anyone that works with teenagers, this is the very first book, even before this program, this is the very first book that I recommend to them. And in my 20 years as a youth pastor, I would actually read that book every 2 years, just as a refresher course. Your second book is Communicating for Change, and that's written by Andy Stanley. That's going to be your easiest read. It's a very short hardback book. It won't take you but maybe a day or 2 to read it. It's not long at all. Sticky Faith is the third book by Kara Powell, and Youth Ministry Nuts and Bolts by Duffy Robbins is the fourth book. And then you can look, there are 6 other books to choose from. Forgotten God by Francis Chan, The 5 Love Languages. If you are married, if you're in a relationship, I would recommend that be your 5th book. It is a fantastic read, and it not only helps you in understanding your spouse, but it also helps you understand how to relate to other people. The whole concept, how many of you is there anybody in here that has read The 5 Love Languages? Okay. So the whole idea behind it is that every person speaks a language and they respond to a language. And those languages are things like acts of service, words of affirmation. And I think, well, obviously there's 5 of them. And so anyway, it's a great book. It will help a lot. But anyway, another book that you can choose from is Not a Fan by Kyle Idleman. Then there's the 21 Irrefutable Laws of the Leader by John Maxwell. In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day is another one of your choices. And then You Lost Me by David Kinnaman. And so do your research on that. Look through your manual so you can get that list. We'll do one of those a month. And here's what I have found works best. We won't all read the same book the same month. I'll let you choose which book you want to read at which month. I will tell you that the hardest read that you will do from this list is Youth Ministry Nuts and Bolts. It will be the most difficult one for you to read because it is actually a textbook, and it reads like a textbook. It's not something that I couldn't read it at night. It's something that you got to sit down and like take the time and be very particular about reading it. Okay. But the rest are pretty easy reads, and they're pretty enjoyable. So after you read each one, you are required to do, I believe it is you have to do a 2-page report. That's double spaced, 12 font. And it has to be on the book that you read for that month. Okay. Now, there is an application that is in your manual as well that it says for you to send it to the international offices. You won't do that. You'll actually just send that to me. And I will keep your application, And each month you'll send your book report to me, and I'll keep those in a file. And at the end of our 6 months, I will send all of those in for you to the international offices. They will then return your certificate, your youth ministry certificate. They will send that to me, and hopefully I can come to your church and present that to you if your pastor allows that. It would be my privilege to present that. If not, then I can just send that to you in the mail. Okay. So five reports, one each month on the 5 books. And then at the end of the program, you will do a report. And it's all outlined in the manual. You'll do a final report basically based on what you started, what your knowledge was at the beginning versus what it is at the end, what you've learned during this time together. Don't overthink it. It's not that difficult. They're not going to grade on grammar, misspellings, things like that. This is not a college level course, but they just want to see what you've learned and how it has affected you. Okay. Now, the last portion of this is that we will meet every month for about an hour. And those meetings are typically done in the evenings because most of the people that go through this program have day jobs. So it's just easier to meet at night. When we start the program, we'll try to come up with the day that works best for the majority of the group and the time that works best for the majority. Typically, it's been 7 or 8 o'clock once a month. And again, we try to limit that to 1 hour. And what we will do is we will discuss your reading from the manual. So you'll get assigned readings from the manual. Again, it's not really hard reading. It's just good informative stuff. And we'll have discussion on our readings during our Zoom calls. Okay. So I know that was probably like drinking from a fire hydrant. A lot of stuff I threw at you. Some people, they're like, oh, I got this. This is so easy. I can do this. It's not going to be an issue at all. And other people that look at this, they're like, wow, that was a whole lot more than I thought it was going to be. Can I tell you that my experience with this class and with this course is that it's not been that difficult for people. It's been pretty easy. And the people that go through this together, they build a camaraderie together. We meet together, and then like when we see each other at like camp meeting or prayer and leadership, sometimes the only time that we see each other is in this box right now. So when we see each other at actual state events, it's like, you're in my class. I remember, we're seeing each other now for real, so it's kind of a cool thing. So let me take any questions that you may have.
Josh.
Yes.
I was wondering, the Sticky Faith book, when you look it up on like Amazon, there are 3 that come up. I'm assuming we want the Sticky Faith Youth Worker Edition that's by the Powell and Griffin.
Let me look. It's a blue book, I believe. Not that helps you.
Well, they're all blue.
Oh.
At some point.
Okay.
Top one's more blue than others.
My version is okay. All right. So it's that one.
Oh, okay. All right.
You guys
Got
got it? Okay.
Yep.
That's not the youth one. In case anybody else was looking.
I'm looking here.
The youth one has duct tape on it.
Okay, well, hold on a minute.
It looks like that.
Let's see here. I want to make sure I tell you right. Okay. So they have come out with a youth version since the manual has been printed.
Oh, okay.
So
Additional.
it's going to be basically the same thing. So why don't we say that we get the youth edition one?
Okay.
Okay. And I'll put that in the email and everything. That's going to probably have more beneficial stuff for this group.
I'm gonna send that, okay?
All right. Dave is asking a question. Is there an additional cost to the $10 manual? Nope, just the $10 download and then the books, the 5 books. So that's the only other cost. You don't have to pay for your certificate or anything. It's just the manual and the book cost. All right. Anyone else have a question?
Can we buy just one manual for us to share?
I think that if you're going through as a group, like each church could purchase a manual. If you're going as a couple, you can share the manual.
There it is.
So
Do you want the papers by a certain date of the month?
I'm going to leave that up to you. I will tell you that what happened the first time that we went through this program
When's the start date?
was I did not give a due date on those papers. And so people were waiting until the end to try to write all their papers. And it really stressed them out. And in fact, we had a couple people that it took them probably 6 more months after we were finished with the program for them to get me their papers. So I try to just ask you when I send the emails out, I try to ask you to have your papers to me before the next meeting. All right.
Did you hear what I said? What's
Yeah.
the start date?
The start date, we haven't stated that yet. So
Oh, you had the microphone on.
yeah, I hear you guys.
We didn't realize we were unmuted.
Listen, I didn't have mine muted when we first started, and Paige comes in and she's asking me if I got all the food out of my teeth because I just scarfed down BLTs. And I was like, I'm muted. And I wasn't. So I'm like looking over the camera doing this. All right. So before we end this call, we will establish the start date. Okay. We have some more questions. Mitch, I know you got a question. Come on.
Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it seemed that there is a level 2. Are any of these books carry over to level 2 that maybe would be worthwhile to read in addition to the 5 required?
I have not carried anyone through level 2 yet.
Okay.
There's been a request for that from one person. So I have not looked at it in recently to see what the reading is for level 2. So I can't answer that. I have it printed in the office. So I'll have to get back with you on that to look.
I have a question. Good night, good evening, everyone. If we were to, Marlene and I are from the same church. If we were to decide that other people in our group were gonna do this, would it be a situation where they do the reading and then they're just sending all the paperwork, the assignments to you, and that's how you know that they're part of the program if we decided to just to go off the manual that I bought and Marlene bought? Does my question make sense?
So they wouldn't come in the Zooms? Is that what you're saying? You guys would run it on your own?
I'm not entirely sure because it wasn't something that we contemplated until someone asked the question about whether or not you could share, and then you said if your church wanted to share a manual, then you could. So just kind of fleshing out how that would work if we decide to run it on our own. Not that we're undertaking that, but just if we did.
Yeah. So here's what I would encourage. This program, when it was originally designed, was meant for a person to go through it on their own, alone. I have found that the material sticks better and it creates community when we work on it together, and it builds that camaraderie. I really would like for the folks at your church to be involved in the Zoom with us. I'm not saying that it's a requirement because they could do this on their own anyway. That being said, if you downloaded the manual once, you can make copies for everybody in your group. They don't have to purchase it again. You could send them, and then they've got it. They don't have to spend that money on it. But you could encourage them to come in on the Zoom. But if that's not possible, or you feel like that it would benefit your group better if you guys went through it together, not within the Zoom, then you're more than welcome to do that. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that Marlene and I will be on the Zoom, but we just wanted to go back and communicate that there was a possibility if people wanted to do it and what that would look like. So thank you for explaining that.
Okay. If you choose to do that, just communicate with me and let me know so that when they send in their assignments, like if they're going to send those to me, I know who these people are.
Fair enough. Thank you so much.
Sure. Anyone else have any questions?
Yes, hi Josh. This is Clinton. This manual we downloaded, is it 83 pages, correct? I was just looking at it online there. I downloaded it. It's 83 pages.
Yes.
Okay. What page is all the books listed on? I zipped through, I couldn't really find it.
Okay. So when they created this, they didn't number the pages.
Page 11.
Okay.
Thank
It's
you.
right after Section 2.
Okay, thank you.
You guys are better prepared than I was. This is going to be fantastic. Amber's a rule follower though, so I know she's going to be on this, and a teacher. So
I take it this whole manual is printable.
yes, it is. It's designed to do that, to be done that way. Do you have a way to print? All right. Christine, you got any questions? All right. There are more people that are going to jump on board than who are on this call right now. They just couldn't meet today. So, if all you guys decide to do this, we'll have a pretty good class. And I guess, and Marlene, let me ask you, did you finally get my emails? Did you ever get those emails that we were?
I received one yesterday. So I did receive the one. I ended up emailing the PA COG email that you provided. So hopefully that helps.
Okay. I have no idea. I tried to email myself as well to my Gmail account, my Yahoo account, and I don't know. I wasn't getting it either. So, okay. All right. Well, let's think about this. And this will be a time for you to speak up if this doesn't work for you. Do evenings work best for the majority of the group?
Yes,
Yes.
evening does work
Yes.
best.
Okay. All right. So what I would like to do is I'd like for us to have our first official meeting. This was just informational. I'd like for us to have our first meeting where everyone's downloaded their manual. You have filled out the application. And you've gone ahead and ordered at least one of your books. Okay. I'd like for us to begin that this month in February. Okay. I'll just tell you my schedule. I need for the program to be done before youth camp. If I had hair, it would be out by the time youth camp gets here, because it just takes so much to pull off youth camp. So I want to have you guys through this before we get to youth camp season. So that's why I would like for us to start in February. So if we're looking at this, if you want to look at your calendars, I'm looking at the week of the 20th. And I'm looking at, let's see. I'm looking at the 24th.
Now, I would not be able to attend that just because I'm working until 8 that evening. But if
Okay.
it works for the majority, I can always catch
And
up.
we will record these, and everybody can watch them later. Christine made a face too. So is that no good for you either?
My kids have 4-H that evening until 7:30. I actually think they're extending it to 8 o'clock because of the weather. But if need be, my husband can take them. It's crafts. That's my thing. But we can make arrangements if that's the next time.
Okay. How does the 24th work for others?
Yeah, the 24th works for me.
Okay.
We're
Same
good.
here.
All right. Millers and Stars, are you guys?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. Clinton?
Yep, I'm good on the 24th. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and we'll set it for the 24th. Hopefully the next meeting after that, Mitch, you'll be able to make that, but I'll record these and make sure that you get a copy of that. So we'll say, what works better, 7 or 8 o'clock for everybody?
7.
7.
7.
Yeah, 7.
7 be good.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I am excited about this. I don't want you to look at it as a, I want you to be excited about it. I want you to be like, this is going to be something that you want to do. I don't want it to be like a chore. But it really is it really is. I mean, and you'll get your official through the Church of God. It's not a certificate that I made up in Photoshop that I'm sending to you. It's a real deal, like the real deal from the Church of God and in Cleveland that you'll receive. And so it's worth it, not only for that. I know it's not all about the certificate, but it really is about just improving ourselves and learning from each other and being the best that we can be for our students. Because at the end of the day, it really is all about them and how that we can be better for them. So, all right. Well, I have kept us 2 minutes over, longer than I wanted to. So I want to let you guys go. Typically our meetings, we will open with prayer, but we didn't do that today. So I'm going to close in prayer and then let you guys go. Okay. God, we just come before you today and we thank you, we love you, and we honor you. God, I thank you for these leaders who want to better themselves. They want to be all that they can be for their young people. And God, I just ask that you would use our time together in the next several months to strengthen them, to strengthen us, Lord. And God, just help us to be the leaders that our students need us to be, Lord. God, we thank you. We thank you for the calling that you've placed on every one of us. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. You guys have my email. And if you can't get me that way, I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm even on TikTok. So feel free to reach out to me any way that you can if you need me. And I'll talk to you guys on the 24th. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Josh.
sir.
Great
God
night.
bless.
Yeah.
Bye. See ya.